returned. Hello everyone. It's been a while. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. You know what you're in for in this video. We're going to be making my first custom doll on the channel. Before we start, I'd like to give a disclaimer for the project involved in this video. Also disclaimer, this is not a tutorial of some sort. Let's carry on with the video. So the idea for this project I had in mind, I wanted to make a custom doll based off of my favorite music artist, Mothica. Cause why not? And after multiple rounds of voting on Instagram, and a brief discussion on the Mothica's Cocoon Discord, I finally came up with the idea to make a Mothica doll based off of the Nocturnal album cover. So that's what's gonna happen. Now let's go find our victim, shall we? So when it came to deciding what doll I would use for this custom, I was having a bit of trouble deciding what doll I wanted to use for my bin that I already had. But a majority of the dolls that I had in my doll bin were Generation 1 dolls. And because this doll is going to be obviously based off a real person, the idea of using the Generation 1 Monster High dolls was a bit scary to me. So I decided to go with the next best thing and purchase a Generation 3 Ghoulia off eBay. The main reason I thought of using G3 Ghoulia as a base for this doll custom is because of the decent realistic body proportions of G3 dolls, but also because the album cover itself has a lot of green elements, including the dress, so I just thought, why not? When the doll arrived in the mail, I also ended up getting a couple freebie stickers from the seller. And if you know me, I love some freebie stickers, so that was really sweet. The first obvious thing I need to do is take her clothes and put them in my doll clothes tin, which I will be using them for later projects or just in case if I need extra doll clothes. Now that basically everything is ready, let's whip out our acetone nail polish remover and start removing her face. After I finish getting rid of her face, I then go and find a small plastic bag that I can put all of her hair in once I cut it to save for future doll projects. I then start to cut all her hair off with some scissors and start from the scalp. Well, she's now got the Meg Myers special. It's now in the bag. Someone call Ash Nico. She wants her hair back. After I put all the hair in the bag, I then use some pliers to get the stupid plastic things out her head, which is a little difficult. I don't know if I want to do the waterboard method or the blow-dry method because I mean, either way of softening it, it doesn't really matter how I can soften the head. I'm just afraid that if I use too much glue or something, the box will break it. Okay, you've heard enough of past me rambling. It's time for the decapitation. And now the decapitation process with past me. Welcome to my kitchen. Yeah, I'm gonna boil her head off. I remember we used to have an old glass measuring cup, but I couldn't find that, So basically it's what you'd expect. I take some water and put it in a cup, and then put it in the microwave for who knows how long. So, how we doing on this fine night? I'm exhausted, like crap. After a couple minutes of waiting, it's finally time to take the water out of the microwave. After I take the water out of the microwave, I then move it to the counter and start to waterboard her. I repeat the process until I feel her head is very squishy. After I was able to carefully get her head off, I took another pair of pliers to get all of her hair plugs out of her head. I had to cut a little more of her hair off because her hair being a little bit longer on the top was making it a bit difficult to get the plugs out. Once that issue is all fixed, I continue my process.
One eternity later.
Now that our friend is completely bald, it is time to get rid of her factory paint on her head. This process takes a while because she has so much paint on her head. I have to use multiple Q-tips in order to even get this finished, look at how many I've already used up. Oh my god. Now that she's completely bald, it's time to move on to the face-up. I go ahead and spray my first layer of Mr. Super Clear so that I can be able to draw on the face. I am going to be using my Mungyo soft pastels for the eyeshadow and blushing, etc. And using my soft pastels, I usually have to use an X-Acto knife to shave off a bit of dust so that I can get it to be able to stay onto the brush a bit. Because just wiping the brush on it doesn't really do much, to be honest. For the eyeshadow, I try to color match the green eyeshadow that Mothica has on in the album cover. I think I got it as decent as I could. I moved between shaving the pastels with my X-Acto knife to using the brush to using a Q-tip to add more eyeshadow onto the eye crease. Once the eyeshadow and blushing on the face is done, I then go in with my second layer of Mr. Super Clear to seal the eyeshadow in the face and stuff, so I can go in with my next layer of pencils and extra blushing and contouring if I need to. I then start to go in the face up with some Prismacolor pencils and add a bit more blushing and contouring with my soft pastels. Sorry if my filming angle isn't the best. I'm still learning how to film landscape. Also, when working with custom dolls, I usually need to put them close to my face in order to see what I'm doing. So yeah, sorry about that. After I'm okay with what I've worked on, I then seal it again with my third layer of Mr. Super Clear. After that third layer has dried, I then go in with my Prismacolor pencils again to add more detail to the face and stuff. It's mostly just small stuff, but still, it adds up to the face up, if anything. I sometimes have to move the doll upside down in order to get the face as symmetrical as I can. Based off of the album cover photo for reference and Mothica's face, I made a drawing based off of her face on the doll's blank face when the doll was blank, so that I could get an idea of what I wanted to do for the face. And honestly, I think I did pretty okay with it. I then start to go in with some brown crayon pencils for the eyebrows. I try my best to make them as even as possible. I'm not the best at symmetry. Please don't come for me. I add a bit of white to the eyebrows to give it a bit of a shiny-like look. Once the eyebrows are done, I then go in with my crayon pencils for the eyes. This is not easy. Once I fill in the eyes, I then go in with some darker brown pencils just to add a bit more depth. Once I'm happy with my pencil layer, I then go in with another coat of Mr. Super Clear. Once that's dry, I then go in with some darker crayon pencils to add circles around the irises. I then go in with a black crayon pencil to add in the pupils. Once that's done, I start to do her lips. Once I'm finished with all my pencil sketching, I then go in with my paintbrushes to start painting her face with acrylic paints. Once I'm done with the brown paint, I then go in with some black paint to paint in the pupils. This is a bit difficult. Once I'm done with painting in the pupils, I then go back in with my black crayon pencil to start adding in the eyelashes. After doing the first set of eyelashes, I then go in on the second ones. This is a little bit tricky to get them symmetrical, so I have to turn the doll's head like different angles in order to do that. Off camera, I finished up doing her face, and add a ton of touch-ups and all that stuff, and now it is time to go in with her tattoos. She has so many. As you can see with her Oblivion collarbone tattoo, I had to go pretty slow for this because I was scared I was gonna either misspell or mess up, and I kept having to double check a ton of times. Yeah. Going from doing her Oblivion collarbone tattoo to all of her other ones was very tricky because she has so many very detailed tattoos. And stuff, like, so many. It's really cool. I was trying my best to get them all as accurate as possible, but, you know. So, let's just skip through this part. Once I'm all done with my work on everything, I then go in with one final layer of Mr. Super Clear. While I'm waiting for her to dry, it is time to prepare the yarn wefts for her hair. When cutting up the right amount of yarn, to brutally brushing out the yarn, which takes hours, gives you a ton of these lovely soft wefts, which I then proceed to take individually and hot glue them onto her head, which also takes a long time. This is insanity. When gluing her hair onto her head, I make sure to glue it in sections so that I can remember where the part that I'm trying to part her hair in is, so I don't, mess up her hair. This is the final product after gluing so much of it on her head. Care for a doll hair 360, anybody? I'm sorry, I'm corny. After I finish gluing on her yarn hair, I then use some gel and then pin it in place to try and see if I could keep it in the style that I want it to be. This is not easy. Moving on to accessories and clothes and stuff, I at first had a plan to use this spare Draculaura headband to use for her star crown that I'm making, but that didn't work. So let's just skip to the process of me making the star crown. For this part of the project, I am using, obviously, cardboard, cutting it out, making sure it looks like even triangles and stuff. Once I'm done, I put it on her head to make sure it fits. And from what you can see, it does fit, so that's good. After that, I proceed to trace the cardboard outline onto glitter paper, cut it out, and then hot glue it onto the cardboard star crown. Having to do it in multiple sections so I don't do it all in one go, because if I do it all in one go, then the glue's just gonna probably dry quicker. And once that's done, there we have our star crown. So cute! Moving on to the shoes, I got these Skultimate Secrets Neon Fright Schoolia shoes off of eBay to use as a base for her knee-high boots. As you can see, I modified it a bit off camera, and now it's time to go in with some paint and paint them all black. I avoided painting over some of the green glow-in-the-dark details because I thought that they were really cool, just to add my own little spin to it. And here are the shoes that I finished off camera. I think they turned out great. After I'm finished with her shoes, it's time for me to make the star choker. I use some polymorph plastic beads and my hairdryer to heat them up so that I can shape them on another doll so that I can get this. Off camera, I modify it a little bit and then we go in with the paint. Once that's done, I add the little star to the choker, and now it's time to move on to the dress. Starting off on how I made the dress, I made this little top, and then continued from there adding on to it. This was a little bit tricky to work on because I am not the best at sewing, as you can see, but I did my best with what I know how to do. And from there, I just continue adding more and more layers to the dress. Even though the mesh is going to be layered, you can still kind of see through it, so I decided to make a little pair of boxer shorts, which turned out very well in my opinion. Here's a bit of a time skip. After this, I then end up sewing a bit more layers onto the dress so that it's a bit fuller and stuff, and trying it on her to see how it looks. As you can see from my progress, I added a lot more ruffles and stuff just to make it look a little bit fuller. It's not my best work, but I tried. And here's another shot of basically the finished dress. I added a lot more layers again, obviously, and stuff. Her leg tattoo started coming off, but that's okay, they'll be covered by her boots. Moving on to kind of the final thing, which is her tights. I used the same material that I used for the dress, but in black. I then trace out a pattern with some white pencil, cut it out, and then start trying to sew it together. This does not end well at first. There's a bit of trial and error with this one. After taking so long with trying to figure out how I was even going to sew these pair of tights, it eventually didn't work. The tights ended up looking like this. And the worst part is, even with the measuring that I tried to do, they still didn't fit her. So, to the trash you go, tights, goodbye. I do fix this later by making 2 separate stockings. On to making the diorama. I don't have a ton of footage on how I made the diorama, but I made it out of cardboard, got the fabric to make the curtains, and made these stars out of cardboard and glitter paper. Now all I had to do left was snap my fingers and ba-boom! All done with the diorama. Now all that's left is to get Mothica dressed and big reveal incoming. Ta-da! She's complete. I had so much fun working on this custom. This custom took about from, I want to say, November to about January to finish. And yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I was hoping for this to be my last video of 2023, but unfortunately, because of the amount of editing that I had to do to make this video and stuff, it didn't work out. So yeah, no, this video editing has been like 4 or 5 months in the works. But yeah, no, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new, please like and subscribe. No pressure, you don't have to. And I hope to see you in the next video. See you later.